Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Attraction with Dominey Drew. I'm so glad that you joined me today. My name is Dominey Drew Space, where I help you work through the things that are keeping you single. Now, for some of you, that may sound like great news. For some of you, that may sound absolutely crazy. How on earth could you be keeping yourself single if you don't want to be single? Obviously, you don't want to be single, right? But that is exactly what is that's happening. Something is sabotaging you. And that is actually created and made and initiated and sustained by you, even though you don't want to be single. How about that? You know, a few months ago, I did I was a keynote speaker at a live event out in Newport Beach, California. And in my speech, I asked, the way I started it, and it's funny because this actually came up on a coaching call in my Art of Attraction program recently. I made the point in the group, I said, I don't need to stand up here and tell you how to be successful, right? Because it was about sort of, success in business and building your business and scaling and things like that. And so I was talking on speaking on the topic of self-sabotage, because self-sabotage is not unique to dating, right? Nothing that I teach is unique to dating. That's just the area where I choose to kind of put the work. But I have clients come to me because, they want to be more successful in their career. I have people come to me because they want to eliminate stage fright or be able to speak publicly. I have people come to me who are already in relationships and want to make them better. So this is truly how you are sabotaging yourself in every area of your life without meaning to, right? Totally unintentionally. And so I got up there on stage and I said, I'm not going to stand up here and tell you how to be successful. You already know how to be successful, right? Just like you listening, if you're listening because you're single and you don't know why and you're frustrated about it, you know how to date. There's no problem with how to date. You go out and you meet people and you ask them out and then they either say yes or they don't. And then, you rinse and repeat, right? The how to is not the problem. And the same with success, right? I was like, there's nothing that I can teach you about success that you don't already have access to knowing. You can learn how to be successful on the internet. You can read about it in a book. The secrets of success are incredibly non-secret, actually. So the problem is not that you don't know how to be successful. That's not why you're not successful in whatever your endeavor is. The problem is you know exactly what to do, but you don't do it. And when you do it, it goes wrong. The way you're doing it is messing up the results that you're getting. And so my area of expertise is to show you why it is that you're holding yourself back and how to fix it. And that can happen in a matter of a few weeks. At the moment, I run 2 programs. One is the Art of Attraction, which is an 8-week ongoing program, ongoing coaching program, live coaching with me, which shows you how to identify that underlying self-sabotage and eliminate it. And it does it in a matter of weeks. Okay, this is not subtle. I've had people come to me who have struggled. The one I'm thinking of in particular was with rejection for over 50 years and had no idea why. Women just kept rejecting and rejecting and rejecting over and over again, had no idea why. And I think it was about two sessions with me, he was in the Art of Attraction program. So in 2 weekly calls with me, we found out why and what he needed to do to fix it. So this doesn't need to take endless amounts of time. That actually can be solved relatively easily. You just need the right guidance, right? You need the path to where you want to go. And that's what I provide, right? You know where you are and you know where you want to be. I'm the bridge to help you get there. And the way I do that is by showing you how you're keeping yourself from getting there. Because the only thing in your way is you. The only thing in your way is you. There is nothing else. No matter how convincing it looks like the circumstances are. Oh, I live in a small town. Oh, I'm not attractive. I'm not beautiful. Oh, I'm not confident and charismatic. Oh, I'm None of that is the point, right? If you were single because you were unattractive, then by that logic, only attractive women, only like beautiful people would be in relationships, right? That's obviously not the case. There are lots of people that are happily coupled in small towns. So it is a mistake, and a common one, to cause yourself to blame the world around you instead of taking responsibility for what is. And the reason why that is a mistake is because when it's not your fault, quote unquote, right? When it's just like, oh, there's something you can do, then there's nothing you can do. Okay? When it's something that isn't something you're doing, you become a victim, and you become a victim fast. And when you are a victim of your circumstances, you are powerless to change them. And so it is incredibly essential to learn. This is step one for absolutely everybody. I cover it in week 1 of my program, and of all my programs, actually, because without it, you can't move. Okay, if you are a victim, that's unfixable. Can't never do it. Oh, women, they won't commit these days. Well, if that is true, which it very much is not, women are committing everywhere around me right now, in different levels, in different places. But if that were true, you would be powerless to fix it. Well, it's just women. Times are changing. These sort of big overarching statements of, oh, women these days, right? What does that actually mean? Right? When you get vague, you lose your power. Right? It disperses your thought process, and you become weaker, unable to focus on something and take a stand and do something about it. Right? Sort of takes you off your feet. Oh God, you know how women are. No, how are they? What statement how can you even finish that sentence in a way that is even remotely accurate? Considering you're talking about every single woman around the world. And so today, what I just wanted to go over, to sort of dive into a little bit, is this essential necessity of self-responsibility, okay? I have a little pinup in my program that I give to my clients for them to like print out and put up on their wall. And it says the extent to which you are unwilling to take responsibility for your own life is the exact extent to which you are unable to fix it. Right? You could also say the extent to which you are unwilling to take responsibility for your life is the exact extent to which you are a victim of it. You are not a victim. I don't need to know what has happened to you in your life in order to tell you that. And so there's a mindset shift that has to happen. And this is the first thing that we go over in my programs. Okay? Here's an example. Let's say you have a pattern, a subconscious pattern in your relationships of women cheating on you. Or let's say women leaving you. Okay, they always leave you. I don't know why they're always leaving. Okay, great. So your pattern is that women always leave you. Now, you can, this could look a couple different ways. You could look at that as, oh man, women just aren't, they're just not committing these days. They're just not as interested in committing, right? Oh, life is so fast paced, social media, technology, blah, blah, blah. People don't have the attention span they used to. If that is the approach that you take, if that is the way you perceive that issue, then you will be saying those same statements, technology, life is speeding up, for the rest of your life. You will die with those beliefs. And likely you will do so alone. Or having settled for someone who's not quite right for you. And so the reason why that happens is because you can't change the speed of life. Yes, it is accelerating massively, concerningly, some ways, in my less evolved moments. And so there's nowhere you can go with that. If, however, you have a pattern of every woman in your life, in relationships, leaving you, and instead of thinking, oh man, well, women just won't commit anymore, you instead say to yourself, I seem to have a propensity for attracting women who leave. I wonder what that's about. Now notice how I didn't say in the voice of the second person, oh, it's my fault. They leave me because I'm awful. That's not self-responsibility. That's blame. Blame and responsibility are not the same thing. So if you're listening to this being like, it's not my fault people leave me, get out of your child self, okay? Step into your adulthood and, in the present moment, nobody's accusing you of, being wrong and bad. If you're hearing that, then this is something that you need to work on, okay? Because it's keeping you from hearing clearly. And that's going to keep the pattern stuck. It's going to keep you stuck in the pattern. So when you make that shift from, oh, it's just how it is, or there's something wrong with me, to, I wonder why this keeps happening. I wonder, what about, how I'm attracting that. I wonder why I'm attracting that, right? Rather than feel worse because it's your, quote, fault, you actually feel better because you're more empowered. Now there's something you can do to fix it. Right? Now there's some way that you can step into your power and take hold of your life experience. Take responsibility for your life experience. That is absolute magic. That is stepping into being able to create the life you want. Right now in this moment, let me ask you a question. Do you feel that you can make your life pretty much however you want it to be? Do you feel that that is within your power? If the answer was anything other than a resounding yes, then examine this in yourself. Because the only reason you would not feel that is if you are not, in fact, empowered in your life. You're not, in fact, you're not at the steering wheel. You're in the back seat, and you don't know who's driving. It's like you're on autopilot, right? So when people ask me what I do, sometimes I sort of smile to myself because, I'll say, oh, sure, I help single men and women to attract life partner through personal relationship coaching. But really what I do is I take people off of autopilot. I give you control of your own life, control of your own happiness, control of your own joy. How different would that be for you to suddenly live empowered? To step into the driver's seat of your own life, there's nothing quite like that feeling. You can literally steer your own ship. You can create your life the way you want. I don't mean you can move to Minnesota or you can move to Mississippi. You can do that on autopilot. I mean, you can bring the kind of people you want into your life. You can bring the kind of opportunities you want into your life. You can, if you you want a better job or you want more clients in your business, it's like that's something that you can actually dial in. Turn that dial. Yep. Okay. I want some more. I want some more of that. And you will know how to create it because you're driving the car instead of just looking out the window wondering where you are and where you're going. This is incredibly important. Without it, there is nothing. There's no, without it, life is a crapshoot. There's no purpose, no direction, intentional direction. There's no intentionality. And those people tend to feel that they are lost in life on a very deep level. Because on a very deep level, they are. Self-responsibility is the key to changing whatever it is that you want to change about your life. It must be accepted first. There is a way in which you can step into empowerment, step into who you are. And the joy that comes from that is extraordinary. The freedom that comes from that is extraordinary. The purpose, the impact you can have, should you want to, on the world around you. The ability to get what you want, capacity for happiness. All of these things come from stepping into the reality of your life. Stepping into who you are, owning what has happened to you. When you can do that, everything begins to shift. Suddenly, life looks brighter. Suddenly, the weight you're carrying eases a little bit. Suddenly, you're getting some looks from the ladies across the room. Suddenly, people are stopping to talk to you when maybe they never did before. Suddenly, you're finding yourself going up and talking to people when maybe you never really did before. Everything begins to lighten, open, and brighten. And what is happening in that actually is you're becoming more who you actually are. You see, who you actually are is incredibly bright. It is radiant and incredibly magnetic and beautiful and powerful and your own unique flavor of you. So whether you're a severe introvert and you like just kind of being left alone, great. You still have a very, very bright light. It's the nature of who you are. It doesn't mean you need to go out and speak to crowds. You can sit there reading a book and be completely lit up, right? Completely lit up is actually the reality of your default state. The times when you are not really lit up are times when you are shrouding that light. That is the self-sabotage. So you're who you are bright and radiant and powerful and incredible and completely confident and self-assured. And if at any point you are not all of those things, you are somehow stopping yourself from being those. You have to put work in to not be those things. Now, that may not quite feel true to you in the moment because you've been putting that work in for so long, and that it's automatic, right? It's easier now to stay hidden than it is to shine. But it's actually not the case. When you remove the defenses, when you challenge and release the fear, when you eliminate the erroneous beliefs that you are carrying, you naturally shine. It happens immediately. It is instantaneous. One of the reasons I'm able to get people results as quickly as I am. Whether you come to me with confidence issues, or you come to me with arrogance issues, or you come to me with fear of rejection, or self-doubt, or superiority, or rage, doesn't matter to me, bring it. They are all defenses you are carrying that are based on erroneous beliefs that are very, very, very deep in your system. I don't mean like, a thought pattern. This is way, way, way deeper than a thought. It's deeply, deeply unconscious. It exists literally in the cells of your body. And so in my work, I can take you deeply enough that we can hit the core. We can go right to what is causing the issue. And in so doing, the transformation is incredibly quick. Because it doesn't need to take long if you get to the point. Now, if you treat the symptoms, now that will take a lot longer. It's why therapy is ultimately very effective if you have the right therapist. And it also takes quite a long time. But for the most part, you see the progress as you go, and so it can still feel good. And it can solve the problem, which is great. My work just does that in a fraction of the time. So there is a space, a way of being, wherein you radiate joy as a default, wherein you are intentional with your life, wherein you are moving effortlessly through your day. A life by design, not a life by default. Those people who seem to have just charmed lives, right? Who seem to have, those people for whom just everything goes right. That is your natural state. You're keeping yourself from that. And you don't mean to, and you don't know why. I get it. Or maybe some of you do know why, but again, it doesn't matter. Because even if you know the right answer, you can't change it. It's too deep. It is so much deeper than the conscious mind that it's very difficult to access on your own. Things can happen where it can change. But the process that I use is so direct that it just takes you straight there. So what's really essential here is to know that everything that you are experiencing is self-created. All of the good, all of the bad, however you label either of those things. If you do not have what you want, ask yourself, what do I like about not having what I want? It's a good place to start. Let's say you're single and you want to be in a relationship, but you can't seem to get into one. Ask yourself, what do you like about being single? Now, 9 times out of 10, the first answer you hear is nothing, because you want a partner. I get it. But if there were something that you liked about being single, what would it be? And if you dig, and before you do this, I have a breathing exercise that I have a video of walking people through that will connect you down to your body, okay? And in so doing, it takes you out of your head and out of your conscious mind. And what that does is it removes you from the story, right? If you must assume that you don't know the source, that you don't understand the source of the problem, right? You must do that, because if you assume you know, then you'll just repeat the answers you hear in your head, right? In other words, you have lots of reasons around why you think you're still single, right? You're like, oh, well, I know, it's because I'm da da da. And that might be it, or it might not. But the fact of the matter is that the real reason is likely not in your conscious mind, because if you knew the answer, right? If this were something you understood and you knew how to fix, you would have fixed it by now, right? If this were something you could access with your conscious mind, you would have already fixed it. So this exists much more deeply than that. It's the same thing with success, right? Why do you know how to achieve success, but you haven't actually done it? There's that blank spot. There's that space where I specialize, right? And so that's what's really essential, right? Those deeper levels. There will be something. Ask yourself, okay? First, take the premise, if you're single, then on some level, more of you wants to be single than doesn't, okay? You're just not in touch with the part of you that's more. Like an iceberg, right? You see a little bit coming out top, but then this massive thing underneath the water. So something is keeping you single. And what will tend to come up are things around like safety, for example. You know, if you had a really bad experience early on and you got really, really hurt, then in your subconscious, you may be telling yourself, whatever you do, don't do that again, because it might kill you. And the reason it associates with the life or death issue, and it genuinely does, is because these issues were formed at a very young age. And so at some point as a child, you felt your life was threatened. This is across the board. Every human has felt this. It doesn't matter if you had a wonderful childhood or a terrible childhood. Regardless, you were privy to an experience wherein you felt your life was threatened in some way, even if you were just a baby and your parents went, on a trip, or they went out to the grocery store, or, something, and you went, oh my God, I don't know if they're ever coming back. And in that moment, you create a little defense. Okay, and those stay in your system and they remain there into adulthood unless you address them directly. And the people who do address them directly are those who first take that step of self-responsibility. They understand that they're creating their experience, and they seek to adjust it. The people who have figured this out, who do work on themselves, who lead that empowered and purposeful life, those people are self-actualized. They are awakened. to varying degrees. Even one person might be awakened to varying degrees. I'm awakened to varying degrees. Some days, not so much. Some days, huge amount. But overall, in the time that I've done this work, and I've done it for almost 20 years, I have blossomed and awakened. And I used to self-sabotage on every single level, and I was a mess of insecurities and body image issues and self-hatred and loneliness. And now I am incredibly happy, and the voices in my mind are gone, and I'm at peace with myself. I love myself. And as a result, I'm very attractive to others now. And so that self-responsibility piece is the first and most essential element. Without it, you are dead in the water. When you shift that perception, even exploring it, all right, maybe I'm attracting this. I'm willing to consider. Great, that's all I need. If you are willing to consider that what you are experiencing is something that you have attracted to yourself, what it does is it opens a doorway into a possibility of change. While you think you know what the problem is, while you think you know, it has nothing to do with you, or while you think any of these things, you are closed off to any possibility of change. It literally locks you in to your current experience. You are limited there, like in a dungeon, right? There's nothing that you can do. And when you change your mind, when you even consider the possibility, it shifts reality and creates an opening for it to be another way. That's what I mean when I say possibility. It literally creates an opening, creates a possibility. Oh, maybe that. Where before one did not exist. That is literal, real magic, where reality is being bent like there is no spoon. Ultimately, there is no spoon. Most of us can't quite get there. But some people can. Everybody can. Some people are already. And so in just that gentle movement, that slight shift from it's not my fault, it has nothing to do with me, to, I wonder why this keeps happening. Just that. Literally changes the world. It allows you to have a different experience. It opens the door to change, just a crack. Sometimes that's all it takes. You are literally changing the way you see a situation, and the situation is thus changing. Because in the one state, women are not committing, there is a wall around you. There is nothing you can do about that. You are locked in. It will likely cause you to feel trapped or defeated because you can sense that you can't go anywhere, you can't fix it. It's an impenetrable problem. on all sides, no matter where you look. There's nowhere for you to go. That's why it feels like a wall. When you consider the possibility that you can, in fact, influence that you can, in fact, be taking part in what's happening to you in some way you don't understand. It empowers you to be able to shift. So a number of things will happen. A chink is created in that wall, right? There's a crack that happens. And with that crack, it allows something else to come into your system. Because we prove ourselves right. And so when you decide, oh, it's just women, you will see that everywhere you look. If, though, you allow a little crack in that, then you have allowed in a different type of experience. Playing with it, just seeing where it goes. And so, in reality, the reality of it genuinely actually shifts. Suddenly, you can have a different outcome. You've created a possibility for a different outcome. You've shifted the probability. And so then when you walk around in life with that perception, you will have a slightly different experience than if you walk around in life with the initial perception. That is magic. How you are inside not only influences but determines what happens to you in life. How amazing is that? That is magic that you have control over. That is a way of tangibly influencing what happens to you in life by making an inner shift, by making a different choice. Learning this work is so much more than just getting better at dating. It is so much more than just being more confident, more than just being more free, more than just being less afraid. This process is about stepping into full empowerment of who you are, taking back your birthright, clearing away all the bullshit that you carry around all the time unnecessarily. It brings understanding, clarity. It brings lightness as you shed the heavy beliefs and the chains that you carry around, that you hold yourself down with. This is how to break them. And yes, when you break those chains and you stand in your power and you go, I am who I am, God damn it, you can bet your ass you're wildly attractive. See what that does to your dating life. People come flocking. because you are unapologetically authentic. You are standing in the power of who you are. You are evolving in a beautiful way. This is who you really are. Radiant, confident, shiny, bright, fearless. That is your natural state. The times when you are otherwise, there is something that is being created. Some template under which you are working. That is not based in reality. And in that way, it drags you down. It's unnatural. It's a good word here. It takes effort to sustain. It does not flow effortlessly. Your natural self flows effortlessly and joyfully. It doesn't matter what's happening around you. That is what you can and indeed are here to remember and come back to. That is what this process is about. And I love it so much because it has transformed my life so profoundly, I can't even describe to you. I'm 180 degrees from when I started that shit, and I am completely and utterly fearless now. A few days ago, I can't remember what it was, something happened and I felt fear, and I noticed myself feel it, and it felt completely unfamiliar. It felt so unfamiliar. Because I don't really feel it much anymore. I mean, I can't remember the last time I did. And it was pandemic times, the moment as of the recording of this episode, and so there was some that brought up some fear a few times, but generally it just doesn't happen in my life anymore, and it used to be just constant. So if that is something with which you struggle, then know that there is a way out, and please don't hesitate to reach out. Reach out to me on my website, domineydrew.com. Reach out to me on my Facebook page or my Facebook business page. Send me a message, Instagram, wherever. Be persistent if you need to be. Pain does happen in life. That is inevitable. But the suffering that you are experiencing on a day-to-day basis is voluntary. You just have to unlearn what you've learned that has created it. And I specialize in helping people do just that. All right, I'm going to close it there. Thank you for joining me on this incredibly meandering episode. I had fun just, wandering with you. So thank you for joining me. If this is appealing to you, please download and subscribe to this podcast. Please share it with friends. I really, really enjoy when people recommend it to people, because it can really, one person hears me say one thing, and it can just create a light bulb and really major shifts. People have experienced really major shifts just from the podcast itself. So please share with anybody who you think would benefit from it. Follow me at Dominey Drew on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and always, send me notes, ask me questions. I'm happy to answer questions on live. You can also call into the podcast many times as well. And so I would love to hear from you in that form as well. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.